My name is Mike Davidson and I direct Core Issues Trust. Core Issues Trust is an organisation that stands with men and women who, by choice, want to move away from homosexual practice and feelings. I don't have struggles in the same way that I used to. I would say that my emotional template has changed, because there used to be a desire to connect with somebody of the same sex that somehow became sexualized, if I can put it in those terms. I don't have that now. In those days, I would almost experience myself as different from people of the same sex. So I would see other people my own age or a bit older or a bit younger, and I would feel different from them. And because of that difference, it felt like there was an attraction and a desire to be more like them and to try to connect with them around that set of issues. I don't know how else to explain that. Now that's not there. I don't experience that difference between myself and other men. In 2012 we ran an advertisement on the sides of buses: not gay, ex-gay, post-gay and proud, get over it. And this was really an attempt to say to Stonewall, which had previously put up an advertisement, some people are gay, get over it, that there are really different points of view about this. And there are some people who have experienced homosexuality, but they want to move away from it. And it's quite well known that this was eventually banned by Boris Johnson. And from that point on, we were not allowed to run such an advert. And we felt aggrieved about that, because we think it's important to be able to express a different point of view and the contrary point of view. So that's why we did it.
We have no problem in it, with people defining themselves as gay, but to be forced, to be coerced generally, to accept the gay lifestyle as good is not something that all people will all be able to do. And so that's actually very serious, that's kind of where Stonewall is pushing the public agenda. Any dissent, you're left out in the cold, as this case shows. You're punished if you dissent in any way. You're punished if you try and put an alternative view. Look at Mike Davidson's case. And you're punished not just by Stonewall, you're punished by the government mechanisms. You're punished by Boris Johnson himself, who personally ordered Mike Davidson adverts to be removed. That is very, very serious. That is obstructing free speech. That's taking away the other side of the argument, and that's a government body doing that. That's censorship, that's oppression. That needs to stop. Either both of the adverts go up or none of the adverts go up. What we've seen here is government preferential treatment for one side of the argument, for the gay argument, for the gay practice argument. One side of the argument being promoted and the other argument being shut down. That is not fair.
I think that Mike is to be commended in the work that he's seeking to do through Core Issues Trust, in giving people, as I say, who have unwanted same-sex attraction, but don't want to embrace a homosexual identity. He's to be commended because he's seeking to work with them to help them fashion the lifestyle that they want to adopt. In terms of the bus case, what Mike is and others are seeking to do there is to ensure that this voice is heard, the voice of this group that don't want to embrace a homosexual identity or a gay identity, even though they might experience same-sex attraction. And that is a valid and important voice that needs to be heard in a debate that is increasingly one-sided, and where there is often an aggressive and a bullying lobby that would try to squeeze out that voice because of what it stands for.
When a client comes to us, I think what we are concerned to do really is to assess what is happening in their lives and why they've come. It's very important that they come because they want to be there, not because they're under some kind of pressure or obligation because of peers or a spouse or siblings or a church. That it really is their own desire to be there and to begin therapeutic work in this area. We meet in one-to-one sessions, individuals who make contact with me, and initially there's an assessment to see what it is that they're aiming at and what they're seeking, and to see whether or not there is a meeting of minds between myself as somebody there to support them and themselves in terms of their own goals. What's the goal?
So I guess it's kind of, I just want to be normal, to kind of have the same things that like my parents had, and to have a job and a life and kids and things like that, and that's what I want.
Can I ask if your parents know you're here today?
No.
Right.
I think that the work that Mike is carrying out is one of fundamental importance in our nation. In a sense, it's kind of currently going against the current political grain to say that some people find that they're struggling with same-sex attraction, that they are, and actually for them that it's unwanted, and they want to be able to move away from behaviour in that arena.
Like, I guess it's just, I've known people who were gay growing up, and that's not a world that I want to be part of, and I have kind of tried it, and it didn't work out, and then I've looked at the way that kind of men and women are together, and I know that that's really what I want.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's fair enough to have that goal. I have to tell you that the limitations on this approach are that not everybody succeeds to 100% in terms of what they are trying to do.
Yeah.
If a person chooses to be gay, and I'm not saying that, by that they chose the feelings, but they want to go on in that way, that is really something that is none of my business. It's not my business to convert them or to change their mind. But if they have questions and they want my opinion, and if they want to see things from a different point of view, I'm very happy to share with them. In some cases, as they deal with the behaviors, the feelings do dissipate, and they identify themselves differently to how they once felt.
Yeah.
So, there needs to be a clear understanding here that we can't, and I cannot offer you something that is a guaranteed thing or raise your expectations. But having said all of that, I firmly believe that it's possible to learn to manage or reduce and in some cases eliminate these feelings.
Sexuality is a complex thing, and it's a term that is very loosely often thrown around. I think we definitely need to distinguish between same-sex attraction or opposite sex, so the attraction factor, whether that's same-sex or opposite sex, and then the activity that people, and the behaviour that might flow from that, so either heterosexual or homosexual behaviour.
You're a person who uses the internet to look at pornography and things, is that? Yeah. And could you tell me a bit about how that is? I mean, is it something that you say is growing or is under control? What's going on with that in your life?
I mean, so look, sometimes I get the urge, and I do go on pornographic websites, and they are kind of videos with men in, and
would you say exclusively? Would it be in that direction?
I tried going on films with girls in, but I found I'd always be watching the men, and there was something that I didn't find attractive about the women in them. And I wouldn't say, like, I don't think I'm addicted to them or anything, but I always,
how often is it happening, do you know?
Every few days, I guess.
Right, okay.
And afterwards I'll always feel very guilty and want to not do it again, but then
I don't know if you've come across the website yourbrainonporn.com.
No.
I would really recommend it to you. It's not coming from a faith point of view at all, and it's not even coming from an anti-porn point of view, but what it is doing is teaching information about the brain and what happens to our brain in terms of the addictive patterns that are set up. There are lots of publications that I think are really important, that people need to be aware of. We have a few ourselves, one that deals with the stories of 10 individuals who voluntarily have chosen to move away from homosexuality, and it really tells you the ups and downs of their stories. It's not a perfect science, and life is messy, so the stories are anecdotal accounts of what they experience in their lives. I could offer, if you want to consider it, if you want to do one-to-one work with me, we meet on a weekly basis if that works for you, and we could set specific goals. We could check where you are each week in terms of your behaviors, your fantasies, your thought life, etc., and look for targets and ways of dealing with that. If you're going to move towards reducing those feelings, then I think it's crucial that you're on top of the behaviors to the best of your ability.
Yeah, it kind of felt like good actually, because there's things I said that I've not really ever said to anybody, and so I was really, really glad to get it off my chest and kind of get it out. So there were some things that he said that I think I've never thought about that might have been true. Like, he said that I've never done team sports, and that's true, and so maybe if I got into that might be like a way forwards. And so I've got this kind of feeling that maybe I can, with his help, like maybe kind of sort out how I feel. And so I think I'm feeling good about it.